everybody. Lisa Savaniak here from lifelikeyoumeanit.com, coming to you live so that we can talk today about how to get past your blocks and achieve your goals. So you've seen so many of my videos before where I've talked about things like, you being a perfectionist or you procrastinating or you getting distracted in your business easily or all those types of things that we do that we either just don't recognize that we do them or we do recognize them but we just say, "Oh, well, I'm a perfectionist," or things like that. And really when you get to the root of it, these things tend to be signs that we are actually scared, right? We're scared of where we're headed. We're scared of how to get there. We're scared of how to manage it once we are. We're scared of losing it. We're scared of failing, whatever it is, right? We're kind of being moved out of our comfort zone. And this is really a coping strategy in order to not have to do it, right? Trying to prolong it, even. So it's important that I bring that back up to just remind you that a lot of times the blocks that we're talking about, whether it's business or personal life, if you just feel like, for example, say you've been rerunning the same old pattern in relationships, right? So nothing to do with business. You're just over and over again, you're choosing the wrong person to try to partner up with. And you think, oh gosh, I don't know what's wrong. The common denominator is me, so there must be something wrong with me. And you start going through all of that, and then you can start to actually dive deeper to try to figure out, well, wait a second, if this is all really habit and this is me trying to meet a need, and I'm going about it in a maybe less than constructive way of going about it, maybe quite destructive, then perhaps maybe if I get in tune with what the need is, then it'll all start to make sense for why I keep making these same choices, why I've created this pattern here. And now I can make a different choice. I could choose to do something differently to still get the need met in a much more constructive way. And the exact same thing is true for business. So when you feel like you are blocked, like, well, I just can't seem to sell my courses, or I just can't seem to, get my business going on autopilot and let it, make money for me while I sleep, or I just can't reach that financial goal, or whatever it is, and there's a block that's in your way, the best thing to do is to hold up a mirror and actually start looking at yourself and start figuring out, okay, do I actually have something that's holding me back from wanting to earn all of that money, for example? Does it come down to just a straight fear of, well, I'm afraid that I will earn it all, but then I won't be able to keep up with it? Or I'm afraid I'll earn it all and I'll turn into a different person, somebody who is greedy and money hungry and just a nasty person? Is there some sort of belief that's running in the background of about money, not about my ability to earn the money, but about what it looks like to have money? Things like that. Just so raising your awareness in general here. And now we're going to talk about your beliefs more in next week's video, because we're going to talk about how to identify what's actually running your show. So what beliefs are holding you back. So we'll go through that a little bit more detail next week. So for now, I just want to remind you that the blocks that we're talking about, they might be quite literal blocks that you've got to try to climb over, but oftentimes they are actual personal blocks, a way that you are trying to meet a need that just isn't for your highest good, right? In the end, you might meet the need, but you've gone about it in a way that's actually sabotaging you. And a classic example of this would be, say, you're trying to meet the need of being safe, right? So that you don't have to put yourself out there and be rejected or have success and then lose it. That would be a long way to fall compared to if you just never got it in the first place, right? So it's that need to feel safe. But I've just explained some of the ways that you're going about making sure that you stay safe, right? Not putting yourself out there so that you're not going to be open for rejection. That keeps you safe. But can you run a business like that? Right? Can you actually thrive just even in your personal life like that? Right? No, of course not. You'll never feel fulfilled and satisfied if that's how you're going about feeling safe. So the feeling safe doesn't need to change. What needs to change is how you're going about allowing yourself to feel safe while still actually allowing your business to grow or allowing your own personal development, whatever it is that we're talking about. So, blocks basically equal awareness, right? Raising your awareness as to what's really going on here. And then once we've got that down, then we can go back to another video that I did. I think I did two, it might have been three videos in a row because this was quite a long exercise I brought you through. But it was essentially walking you through an old coaching strategy called the Wheel of Life. And so I'm not going to bring you through absolutely everything again, but this is essentially a circle that you break up into as many pieces as you like, as many sections. And you can do this so that each section represents a different part of your life. Or you can choose that you're going to look at your business, for example. And so then each section is a different area of your business. You know, maybe one is your finances, one area is your reach, you know, how many people on social media are hearing about you. Maybe one is conversions, how many of those people that are hearing of you are actually doing something with you, right? Whatever you want to put in your wheel of life, right? And if it's all separate categories, then it could be one for business, one for maybe your emotional well-being, maybe one for your spiritual growth, maybe one for sense of community, whatever. It doesn't matter. These are very specific to you, but there's just always a different way that you can actually do it, right? You don't have to be in a rigid box when you do this. And essentially, you're going to, first of all, decide on the area of your life that you're going to work on. And if it is all business that this whole wheel is, then what area of business is it that you're going to focus on here? And then you just want to maybe close your eyes or maybe journal or whatever works best for you. And you want to really be able to get very clear on what a 10 out of 10 in this area looks like. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Literally, right? What are you saying to yourself? What are you hearing from other people when you are at a 10 out of 10 in this area of your life or your business? Okay, what are you feeling? Right? And what are you seeing? Right? So if this was business and you were a speaker, then maybe when you're at a 10 out of 10 in your business, maybe what that looks like is you're standing on stage speaking to a crowded room, right, full of people. Maybe that's hundreds of people, maybe that is thousands of people, you know, I don't know. And maybe you're also looking at your calendar and you can see that you are booked solid every single day of the week you're speaking at a major event or, you know, whatever. And then maybe financially you know, it feels like you are free, right? So it doesn't have to feel like or look like or sound like you're making a certain amount of money, but maybe that you have financial freedom, that you are able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, take time off when you want to, whatever that is, right? So, what does this 10 out of 10 in this area of speaking in your business, what does that feel like, right? Can you feel the power of the lights, the stage lights on you? Can you feel the presence of the energy of all the other people there? Right? And then you move to what you can hear. So, yeah, you can hear the standing ovation that they give you at the end of your speech. Absolutely. But then also, do you hear yourself saying, nailed it? Right? Can you hear other people saying, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. You stand up on that stage and you just ooze confidence. You just look incredibly comfortable up there and you just have so much valuable insight. I am so grateful, whatever it is. Okay, so seeing, hearing, and feeling what that 10 out of 10 looks like. And sometimes these aren't exactly tangible things, right? I've given a very tangible example there of speaking, but sometimes, that section in your life is happiness or fulfillment or success or something that is a little bit less tangible than that. And so in those cases, maybe what you are focusing on is just that feeling that comes up with that rather than exactly what you're doing or what you're saying, right? So it just depends on you. And it also depends on what type of learner you are. So if you're a very visual person, then you're probably going to be able to visualize yourself in the act of being successful before you're able to actually hear anything or feel anything. And then vice versa. If you are an auditory learner, you're going to hear it. And if you're a kinesthetic learner, you're going to feel it. So if you know which one you are, then go ahead and focus more on that. That's no problem. This is all about you just being able to get crystal clear on what that 10 out of 10 looks like. Then, of course, you've got to then rate where you are now. And so this isn't about us getting, defeated looking at, okay, I know what a 10 out of 10 is and feeling all amazing, and then scoring ourselves at a 1 out of 10 and being like, oh, God, I've got so far to go. Because that is one of our hurdles, right, in achieving our goals, is that we seem so far away from where we want to be. It seems unattainable. And so that comes into play our next part of this. And so what you are going to do now is you're going to write down for yourself 3 things that you could do to just move that number from whatever it is now just up one spot closer to 10. So if it's at a 1 now, what are 3 things you could do to get yourself to a 2 in that sector of your life? Okay. Now it's important. These are 3 things you could do. You don't have to do these things. These are okay in a magical world where I had no fear and I didn't worry about any rejection and I was outgoing and whatever else that you feel that maybe you're not in that perfect world. Yep, I would do these 3 things. Okay. So that's fine. Once you see what 3 things you really could do that could really move that marker from 1 to 2 or whatever it is up to that next level, now you're going to ask yourself and allow yourself to commit to one thing that you will do in the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, that doesn't have to be from your list of 3 things that you could do. That's fine. It can be something else, but it's something that you are going to be able to achieve in 24 to 48 hours. This is how we break down our big goals into the smaller little components so that our focus starts going on these smaller things that we can do. And as we start achieving these and ticking these boxes, we can actually feel like we're making a ton of progress. And each step that we are taking, we're allowing ourselves to move our rating of that area of our life in the wheel of life wheel, right? So that we are moving that one step closer to 10. And it might be that you actually get to 10, but you still feel like you haven't achieved the ultimate goal, which is fine. Then you just redo your wheel and you do the same thing again, except for now, maybe you're not listing yourself down at a 1, you're actually listing yourself at a 5. All right, and I'm going to start this over again. So you could do this on one area of your life, or you can do it on all of them. It just depends. So for example, let's just run through a really quick example. So say you really want to get more speaking gigs under your belt. And even though we're in COVID, you still could be doing virtual events and whatnot. There's lots of online summits that are happening and whatnot. But you know that you've got a great message. You know that it will really help your brand and your business. You really want to get out there and help people, but you're scared as to actually do it, right? So it seems like that's a long way away for you to be at your 10 out of 10 at speaking with you standing on a stage with spotlights on you and 1,000 people in the audience, right? That's a far stretch right now. So then start breaking it down and say, okay, so I'm only at a 1 right now because I've never spoken, but I did have a gig and it got canceled because of COVID, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get, whatever. So I've got a 1 out of 10. So what I could do right now is to get myself feeling a little bit more confident because I'm lacking the confidence to actually stand on that stage with 1,000 people, right? Or be on that live virtual summit with maybe hundreds of thousands of people, right? So maybe the first step that you need to do is actually, create the talk. Even if you don't have something to give this talk at, create the talk, right? And then start to actually see what your confidence is feeling like now that you've done the research, now that you've put it all together, now that you've maybe asked somebody that is in this group or in any other, Facebook group or business like-minded group that, is there anybody in here that could just give a look at this presentation I've put together and just give me your opinion on it? Right? And then you maybe start talking to your friends and your family, people that are near and dear to you, that you trust their opinion. And you just, would it be all right if I actually gave this presentation to you and you just give me your honest feedback? If there's spots that are lagging a little bit, spots I'm going too quickly, spots I can just remove altogether, something I've missed, all that kind of stuff until you're ready to give it to a larger audience. Maybe ask your neighbors and people that you're less comfortable with, can I do this talk for you? And these can be all online or in person, doesn't matter. The point is, as I'm breaking those things down, I'm sure you can start to see that each of these things is actually doable in 24 to 48 hours, right? If my first plan is I need to do the research for this topic, I can complete the research in 24 to 48 hours, right? After that, I can set the next goal for, okay, I'm going to put this presentation together. I could perhaps complete that in 24 to 48 hours, right? Then once I've got that, then the next step is to, reach out into a business group and ask if somebody's willing to have a look at it. I can certainly put that request out in 24 to 48 hours, right? And if it's something like, you know what, I can't get all that research done, well, then you break that down even further. All right, I'm going to get this part of the research done in the next 24 to 48 hours. And when that's done, all right, now this has led me to look at this part of the research, which I will now get done in 24 to 48 hours, right? For those of you that are procrastinators and perfectionists, and get distracted easily, you might be able to see how this starts to really hold you accountable. It's not making the big list of all the things that we've got to do and being overwhelmed and just never getting to it, right? Procrastinating. It is actually breaking those down and giving yourself today's goal, or so we're Monday, right? So between now and Wednesday at this time, my goal is, and it's one thing. That's it, right? You are much more likely to be able to get that one thing done than if you're looking at your big long list of all the things that you need to get done to get up on that stage in front of 1,000 people, right? And if you find that when you've got that 24 to 48 hours, it is something that you can tangibly do and you still allow yourself to get distracted or you still procrastinate and you talk yourself out of doing it. So this is above and beyond things that are out of your control, like your kids getting sick or your internet is down or like stuff like that, right? You make a contingency plan for that and you immediately tackle that goal as soon as the kid gets better, the internet comes back on, though, whatever has happened gets resolved. But when you're distracted and procrastinating under normal circumstances, right, then that's your clue that wait a second. This is probably the ultimate goal here, or this little goal that I'm working on. One or the other is pushing me towards the outside of my comfort zone. And I'm starting to panic a little bit, and it's starting to feel like I'm not meeting my need, or I'm going to get to a place where I'm not going to meet my need. So again, if that need is to be safe, moving towards the outer limits of your comfort zone feels very unsafe, right? And so then you are distracting yourself and procrastinating from doing that one goal in 24 to 48 hours because you feel like you are going to be vulnerable. So once you can actually identify that, and then you can actually set a plan out for, okay, so what do I need to do? Do I need to break down what it is that I'm doing thus far? So I'm even breaking it down further into things that are more within my comfort zone? Or do I need to have, other things that I can do that can make me feel like I am safe and secure and minimize that feeling of vulnerability as I start to move outside my comfort zone? So I hope that that all makes sense, giving you very tangible tips of things that you can actually do to physically achieve the goal with the wheel of life, but then also talking about awareness of how you are meeting your needs and what your need even is because that is where the blockage lies. And if you can raise your awareness on that, the blocks just seem to disintegrate. You start to have a better understanding of yourself. And then, coupled with this exercise with the wheel of life, to simplify the goal that you have into real tangible steps that you can hold yourself accountable for, these two merging together have the power to change everything.